East of the Robco facility and south of the Fairfax ruins lies a partially destroyed suburban block of pre-war America. In 2277, this is the town of Andale. Despite most of the houses being completely destroyed, we see two prominent houses that appear to be mostly intact, one to the east and one to the west. Heading on over to the house to the east, we learn that this is the Wilsons' house. Upon entry, we hear that the Wilsons were listening to Enclave Radio. We can go ahead and turn this off, and we find the family sitting down to dinner in the dining room/kitchen. The head of this household is Bill Wilson.
Well, hi there. Welcome to Andale. I'm Willie Wilson, though folks just call me Bill. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, I know it's strange to have a stranger barge into your private home in the middle of dinner, but I'm just exploring the place, and I wonder if you can tell me more about Andale.
Why, it's a place to settle down and raise a family. Of course, we don't just let anyone in here. The Homeowners Association is very clear on that. Besides, there's no room. As amazing as Andale is it any wonder that all the houses would be full of happy families?
Oh, well, I suppose so. I don't want to live in a community with a Homeowners Association anyway.
We smell that air. Ain't nothing like it, is there? And what can I do for you on this fine day?
What do you do around here, Bill?
I feed my family and I love my wife and daughter. What else more is there to life, stranger? Family first. And any man who says anything different is saying something wrong. And you should hit that man with a stick.
Okay, well, he has some admirable sentiments. Let's head around to the other side of the table and talk with his wife, Martha.
Why, hello there. I heard there was someone new coming. How can our little family help you?
Do you like living in Andale?
Are you joking? It's fantastic here. The best town in the USA. Has been for, it's been so many years running that I've lost count.
What else do you think about Andale?
Oh, well, no one ever asks me my opinion about anything, but I love it here.
Oh, all right, well, I guess I'll be going.
We'll see you again, won't we?
Why doesn't anyone ask her opinion? We can try to talk to the daughter, Jenny, but...
What's up?
She really doesn't have anything to say. All right, well, looks like we've stumbled upon a nice little family just trying to live out here in the wastes. Their house is a bit ruined, but so is every home in the capital wasteland after the bombs. And compared to most of the ruins, Martha's been doing a pretty good job keeping this place clean. We do see a little bit of trash on the floor, but not a whole lot. Exploring each of these rooms, we find a couple of cabinets and footlockers. None of them have any interesting loot. Let's see if there's a family in the other house. We learned that this house belongs to the Smith family. We find that they too were listening to Enclave Radio. That's strange. And just like the Wilsons, since it's dinner time, we find the family sitting down at their dining room table. First, let's talk with the head of the household, Jack.
The good Lord made Andale for days like today. Hello there, young lady. Good to meet you. Name's Smith, Jack Smith. Welcome to Andale, the best little town in Virginia.
Virginia? Well, Virginia's been gone for 200 years.
Not here, not in Andale, no ma'am. The great Commonwealth of Virginia is alive and well. In fact, we just voted ourselves a new governor.
You voted for a governor? How does that work?
The adults walked right on down to the polling location and dropped ballots into the box. How do you think it works? Yes, sir, it's every American's civic duty to cast his vote for his favorite Republican candidate. Am I right?
Oh, I get it. You're crazy.
No, ma'am, not crazy. Just a loyal American.
Ah, well, okay then.
Yes, sir, democracy is God's best gift. Right after family, of course.
So, who did you vote for?
Now, my vote is my business and no one else's. But I'll tell you one thing. We didn't vote for any beatnik liberal commies, that's for sure.
You know, you're a little too chipper for my tastes.
Well, that's a shame, but feel free to stop by and see us anytime.
What do you do around here?
I work to feed my family just like every red-blooded American man should. Why, a man that can't keep his family fed isn't any kind of man at all. No, sir.
Tell me about this place.
Andale, greatest place there is. We win Town of the Year every year. We've got no end of food and no troubles at all. Yep, there's no better place to raise a family.
Well, it was good to meet you, Jack.
And it's good to meet you, too. Feel free to stay in Andale as long as you like. Heck, stop by the house for dinner sometime if you'd like. Just let Linda know beforehand so she can make enough for 4.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't want to catch whatever it is you have.
Suit yourself, but you don't know what you're missing. Linda's meatloaf is the best in the country, and her mincemeat pie has won first prize at the town fair 3 years running. But the invitation still stands if you ever change your mind. But listen to me, go on. Did you need something else?
Meat pies? Oh, well, that sounds tasty. Well, thanks, Jack. Maybe I'll do that.
I hope to see you there.
These guys talk a lot about food. Maybe because it's dinner time and they're all hungry? Well, let's chat with his wife, Linda.
Well, hello. Welcome to Andale, winner of the Best Town in the USA contest.
Well, I can certainly see why.
Why, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. You're just too sweet.
Best town in the USA, you said? How many towns compete in that contest?
Well, I don't right know. But we're the best one, isn't that what matters? I mean, we're the winners. Us. Not Springfield, not Rockville. Us. So like I was saying, welcome to Andale. What can the Smith family do for you?
Tell me about Andale.
It's the best little town there is. We don't have a care in the world here. I mean, honestly, what more do you need to know?
This dump won Best Town of the Year? Are you serious?
Well now, I'm sure that your home is just so much better than our little Andale.
I'm from an underground vault, lady. Trust me, compared to it, this place sucks.
Well, I never. The nerve of some people. At least some of us know how to take the high road. Did you want something, Miss Fancy Underground Vault? Or did you just come here to turn your nose up at us?
All right, well, I guess it isn't so bad.
Well, I think that it's quite a bit more than that. But thank you anyway.
I was just joking with you. Andale is a lovely place.
Well, I don't think it was a very funny joke, but thank you. We ladies try to keep it as nice as we can.
The family stands up to head on to bed, but before they do, I wanted to have a word with Junior.
You're new here, aren't you? Wow. I've never got a chance to talk to the new people. Dad always takes care of them before I get a chance.
Is it just me, or is his head a little oddly proportioned? Are all the kids in Fallout 3 like this? He looks a little strange. Do you like living in Andale?
It's okay, I guess. There aren't a lot of kids around here, and no one who comes to visit stays around long. Dad says it could be worse, but there are a lot of starving kids in other places. But still, I wish I had more kids to play with.
What do your parents do?
The same things that all parents do. My mom cooks and cleans the house, and my dad goes to work with Mr. Wilson. They work in the basement, or sometimes in Mr. Wilson's shed. Dad says that when I'm older, I'll come to work with him, and we're in the family business.
Oh, that's nice. Well, tell me about Andale.
It's swell, except I wish there were more kids, and my dad says I'm gonna have to marry smelly old Ginny Wilson someday. He keeps saying stuff to my mom about keeping the family going, and how when him and Mr. Wilson were brothers, they didn't want to get married. It's weird. That means Mr. Wilson is my uncle, and Ginny is something. I don't know. It seems weird to marry her.
Cousin. Yeah, that would make her your cousin, son. They're gonna make you marry your cousin? I have to go now.
Dad says that I shouldn't want to leave Andale, but I do.
We do find a locked door in this kitchen. Door to the Smith's house basement. It's locked with a very hard lock. I suppose that's not unusual. Many people have locked rooms and basements in their homes. So Mr. Wilson and Mr. Smith are brothers, and they're gonna make Junior and Jenny marry each other when they grow up? Yikes, they're not even second or third cousins. They're first cousins. That's really close. But there are many cultures on Earth today where first cousin marriage is normal, and royalty throughout history has had a lot of first cousin marriage. So this is the wasteland after all. I guess, who am I to judge? Well, as gross as that is, we can try and explore the rest of these ruins. We find a few other blasted out houses, and one big Red Rocket truck stop. Boy, these Red Rocket truck stops look a lot different in the capital wasteland than they do in the Commonwealth. There's a bus stop sitting outside, and then we see one more little house. It's a tiny run-down shack compared to the other houses. Heading on inside, we see an old man walking around. This is Old Man Harris.
What? How? How did you get in here? What are you doing in this town? Get out! Get out while you can!
Whoa, slow down there, Grandpa. What's wrong?
What's wrong? You don't see anything wrong with a quiet little town full of friendly people in the middle of a blasted wasteland?
Huh? No, I don't know. It seems like a pretty nice place to me.
Well, they're not. They're killers. Every one of them. Run! Get out while you can. Don't believe me, do you? Just check out the basement or that shed. There's a reason they're locked.
Yeah, okay. Well, you need to get some sleep, crazy old man. I think I'll be going now.
If you know what's good for you, you'll get out as soon as you can. They're crazy. Crazy, I tell you.
Oh man, you're so right. I just hate friendly people.
And you're right sensible, too. Especially around here. The friendly neighbor bit is just an act. These people are stone-cold killers. Get out while you can. Just get as far away from here as possible.
Well, what's wrong with being friendly anyway?
Nothing wrong with being friendly. But these folks aren't just friendly. They're killers. You just watch your back around here and get out while you can.
We can try to get more information out of this guy by lying and saying, well, I haven't talked with anyone here yet but you. Are they really friendly?
No. Well, yes. But it's all a trick. Don't you know anything? Did you just crawl out of a vault or something? Just about everyone in the wasteland knows to avoid Andale, and they're right to do it. People wander in here, and they don't wander back out.
Shh. Time for a nap, Gramps.
What? You don't believe me? Just look in the basements, or out in that shed. You'll see what I mean.
I'll be careful then, I guess.
You should. Otherwise, you'll end up just like the rest.
I'll have to go now.
Get out! Get out while you can!
Well, things suddenly took a dark turn. Compared to the other homes, Old Man Harris lives in squalor and filth. Surrounded by empty booze bottles, the man is a drunk. Maybe that can explain his mad ramblings. But at least he sleeps on a bed and not a mattress on the ground. But could he be telling the truth? They didn't look like stone-cold murderers to me. They're family people. Aren't they trying to rebuild society here? They've got children, they live in these beautiful homes. Maybe he's just a senile old man. Well, we can try and talk with these people about it. Heading on over to the Wilson home, we can chat with Bill Wilson.
By God, it's another fine day in Andale.
Hey, what's wrong with that Harris guy?
Oh, that old kidder? Whatever he's saying, he's just pulling your leg. He's always joking, that one.
Oh, he's a jokester? But it didn't sound like he was making a joke to me. Maybe I just don't understand his sense of humor. Well, we can talk with Mrs. Wilson, see if she can confirm that. What's wrong with that Harris guy?
Well, Dad always was a bit off his rocker.
Wait, he's your dad?
Oh dear, I let that slip, didn't I? He used to be. Until I got married. I can't really say much more than that.
He used to be your dad? Until you got married, and what, now he's not your dad? Well, maybe it's true. Maybe he is off his rocker. Plus, old people smell funny.
Mr. Harris does not smell funny. But, okay, old people do sort of smell funny.
So, let's see, Mr. Wilson and Mr. Smith are brothers. That makes Jenny and Junior cousins. And then Martha here is Old Man Harris's daughter, making him Jenny's grandpa and Bill's father-in-law. Okay, that's not too bad. No incest there, I think. Let's hope things stay that way. Now, she is right. Humans, as they age, do develop a distinctive smell. It's noticed in many different cultures. The Japanese call this smell karayashu, which I'm probably butchering, and there are 2 studies I could find that try to explain it. One study said that old person smell may be the result of 2-nonanol, an unsaturated aldehyde, the chemical composition of which changes as a human ages. Another study said that they detected higher concentrations of benzothiazole, dimethylsulfone, and nonanol in elderly test subjects. Scientists theorize that younger people can detect this odor on elderly people as a way to determine the suitability of potential mates. Anyway, old man smell aside, we can go talk with Jack about Old Man Harris.
Oh, Old Man Harris? Don't mind him. He's gone, you know, a little soft in his later years. Ever since Gladys died, he just hasn't been the same.
Well, okay then, nothing to worry about.
Poor guy. It's so sad when senility sets in.
You know, he did say that you were all crazy killers.
Did he now? I've talked to him about spreading rumors. I guess I'll just have to have another little chat with him. Every time he does this, he scares our new friends off, and we love people. It's a shame when they slip out of our grubby little paws.
Grubby little paws, eh? Okay. You know, Old Man Harris doesn't seem very happy.
Yeah, well, he's hit it rough. Ever since his wife died, he just hasn't been enthusiastic about the Andale lifestyle anymore. He stays locked up in his house all day and the girls bring him his meals. He barely eats enough to stay alive. Poor guy. He's all skin and bones.
All right, well, I gotta go now.
Come back anytime. We look forward to having you.
Heading on over to Linda to see what she has to say about Old Man Harris.
Has he been spreading his stories again? Poor guy. I'll just have to have Jack give him a talking to.
So who's telling the truth? Is everyone right and that Old Man Harris is just insane? Or is Old Man Harris right and these people are murderers? Well, there's only one way to find out. Old Man Harris told us to see what was in the shed or in the Smith family basement. When we talked with Junior, he told us that his uncle and his father often went to work together in the shed. Well, I wonder what goes on here. Both locks for the shed and the basement are locked with very hard locks, which I can't pick, so we need to get a key. Let's see if the families carry the keys. Heading into the Wilson house, as we're about to go up the stairs, we notice a shed key lying on the radio. But there's too many people walking around. We'll come back and get this in a minute. At the top of the stairs, we see Bill Wilson, and Jenny walks up, changing into our Chinese stealth armor and shady hat. We can try to pickpocket Jenny.
I don't think I have anything you'd want.
But she doesn't have anything. We can then go down the stairs to pickpocket Bill, and he has the Andale shed key. But there's also one on the radio. I'm going to try and snag it later. Heading downstairs to the kitchen, we can pickpocket Martha. And she just has a knife on her inventory. So, waiting for everyone to leave and heading over to the radio, we can steal the shed key. Heading on over to the Smith home, we find the family in the kitchen and bathroom. Going in the bathroom, we can crouch behind Jack, and he has the basement key. We have both the keys we need, but just checking out Linda's inventory, we find a combat knife. Wonder why both the women in this town carry knives. With the keys in hand, we can check out the shed first, but Junior and Jenny really like hanging out back here. Jenny sure does look at Junior with longing. You know what? We need to wait until both families are asleep. Waiting until midnight, we can head on over to the garden shed and unlock it with our key. Inside, we find bodies hanging from the ceiling. There are 2 refrigerators against the northern wall, one with blood oozing out from under it, and a bloody handprint on the door. Inside, strange meat. And the next one, strange meat. On the countertops, a wide variety of strange meat which look a lot like human organs. Rippers, knives, and then more skeletons in cages. In the final refrigerator, lo and behold, more strange meat. It instantly becomes clear what's been going on here. These families have been kidnapping and killing people who wander into Andale. It looks like they're cannibals. They're so focused on food and meat, they likely have survived these 200 years by eating people. But what's in the Smith family basement? Well, heading into the Smith household, we can head upstairs to make sure everyone's asleep. Sure enough, Junior's asleep in his bed, and the adults are asleep in their bed. Creeping down to the basement, we can open the door, and at the bottom of the steps, dear God, it's even worse. More skeletons hanging from the ceiling, a decapitated body with arms chopped off, surrounded by blood on a table, a cooler filled with limbs and organs, more skeletons in cages, and of course, more refrigerators filled with strange meat, more strange meat. We've stumbled upon a town of inbred cannibals. Though there is a copy of Grognak the Barbarian right next to the refrigerator in this room, but after grabbing it, we need to hightail it out of here. Heading up the stairs, we can check one last time to make sure that the family is in bed. And oh no, the parents are gone. The boy is gone. Where have they gone? We're trapped. There's no way out of the basement. There's only one way out of here. I guess we have no choice but to head out the front door.
Hey there, stranger. I've got something that I want to talk to you about. I couldn't help but notice that you're poking around in my basement. So, be honest now, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Oh, I really don't know what you're talking about, Jack.
Look, stranger, I'm not angry. I just want you to tell me the truth. If you can't do that, then I'd think you'd best head out of town.
Yeah, I was in the basement.
And did you see anything unexpected there?
You know, now that you mention it, there were a couple of bodies in there.
And do you have any thoughts on that?
We're confronted by these two families after we either leave the Smith home having visited the basement or immediately upon exiting the shed. We get the exact same dialogue choices. Now, we have 3 choices to resolve this conversation that break down into 6 ways. The first choice is the non-judgmental choice, and the first way is to pass this easy speech check to say, "Oh, no, I don't have any thoughts on that. Hey, everyone does what they've gotta do."
Well, that's good to hear, friend. Very good to hear indeed. You wouldn't believe how judgmental some people can be, honestly. All I'm trying to do is keep my family happy and fed. Tell you what, talk to Linda. She'll give you some of her special meat pie. It's to die for. But not you. You're good people.
The second non-judgmental way to resolve this is to pass the very first speech check we found, which is much harder, to joke around with him and to say, "I almost grabbed a snack while I was in there," but that would have been rude.
You're right, it sure would have. You know, you're a breath of fresh air. Every time someone discovers our little secret, we have to hear about it. It's always, "Oh, how can you do this?" Or, "You're such terrible people," or, "Please not me, I have a kid in Rivet City." Well, I have kids too. Family first, that's the way it works in Andale, from the day that the first 4 families decided to stay here. You're not bad, stranger. Stop on by any time and ask Linda for one of her special meat pies.
Choosing either of these 2 options makes the town folk friendly. They each go back to their homes, and now we can get a strange meat pie once a day from Linda.
The good Lord made Andale for days like today. I'm so happy to see you. What do you need?
Jack says that you might have some pie for me.
Oh, of course. Here you are. Enjoy.
With that, we get a strange meat pie. It restores 5 hit points, 6 if we have the food sanitizer we got from the Wasteland Survival Guide quests, but it also gives us 2 radiation. On our Pip-Boy, it kind of looks like a biscuit. When we drop it and put it on a table, it looks kind of like a Hot Pocket, a tiny little handheld bread pocket filled with meat. Strange meat. However, if we fail this harder speech check,
I'm afraid that it just doesn't work that way. I guess we know where the next meal is coming from.
both families attack, forcing us to defend ourselves. The second dialogue choice is to be judgmental, but cowardly. The first way to do so is after he asks us our thoughts about what we saw in the basement, we can say, "I think you're all sick and I'm getting out of here."
I'm disappointed, friend, but that's your prerogative. If you don't want to enjoy our town, we certainly don't want you here. I'm sorry that you didn't enjoy your stay, but a man does need to feed his family. Nothing personal.
In which case they also turn hostile. The second judgmental but cowardly response is to simply say, "I'm gonna leave you guys alone now."
Unfortunately, that's not an option. You see, you leave here and start warning people about the crazies in Andale, and then food gets a lot more scarce, doesn't it? No, friend. I'm afraid that we can't let you leave. Get the ketchup, Linda.
In which case they also become hostile. The final choice is to channel one's inner lawbringer and to bring these murderers to justice. When he asks us if we saw anything in his basement, we can say, "Yes, I did, and you're gonna die for it."
Well, that's a bit presumptuous, don't you think? To kill a man just for providing for his family? Everyone has to eat.
No, it's not presumptuous at all. You've gotta go.
Well then, I guess we can always stand to have some leftovers, can't we?
In which case they turn hostile. Or we can make the final judgmental lawbringer choice to get more information out of these people, to learn why they're doing this. We can say, "Yes, I was in the basement, and I saw what you're hiding down there. You're sick."
I'm disappointed in you, stranger, so quick to judge us. Did you ever stop to think that I have a family to support here? Judge not, lest ye be judged, as the good book says. Honestly, how many people have you killed? The only difference between us is that I'm bringing home the bacon for my family.
Bring home the bacon? Those are people, not bacon. And in order to keep this video advertiser friendly for YouTube, I must omit this last line.
Hey, I'll have none of that language in this house.
But you're talking about eating people here. What's wrong with you?
I don't think I like your tone. There's nothing wrong with me. We've lived this way for decades. After the war, 4 families survived. they continued on just like we have. But when their shelters ran out of food, they need to eat something. Family is everything, my friend. I wouldn't expect a wasteland wanderer like you to understand. Now let's just forget that this happened and we'll have no problem, right?
We have one final option to stay on Jack's good side, in which case we get the same response we saw earlier, and we get some strange meat pies. Or we can stand firm and say, no, Jack, you have to die. You and your sick little town.
Well, I guess we know where our next meal is coming from then, don't we?
With that, we put an end to the murder and cannibalism in Andale by killing all of its adults. Except for Old Man Harris. Whatever happened to him? Well, heading on over to his house, we head inside to find him with the children, Jenny and Junior.
I'm not really sure what happened. Mr. Harris said that our parents went away, and they won't be back. He says that he'll tell me more about it when I'm older, but I miss my mom and dad.
That's right, we just killed their parents. Talking with Old Man Harris.
I saw what happened out there, stranger. Those people may have been my family, but it had to be done. I was like them for so many years. I can't even talk about it. The only thing I can do is try to raise these kids and make Andale into a decent place.
So, you grew up here too?
Sure did. Can't say that I'm proud of it, though. It was all just normal. It's what we all did. I didn't ever think much about it. I married Gladys, just like every boy in Andale married the girl closest to his age. We had Linda, and she grew up to marry Jack. It wasn't until Gladys died that I thought about what went on around here. So many people over the years, hundreds, thousands maybe. But what could I do? I'm just an old man. But you ended it. Bless you.
Now what'll you do?
We'll do our best is what we'll do. Me and the kids here in Andale. What's left of it anyway. It'll be hard going, but we'll do the best we can. I just hope that one day these kids will grow up to do some good for this place after all the evil that's been done here.
What's gonna happen to the kids?
They'll stay here with me and I'll raise them myself. It's a shame that they have to grow up without their parents. But to tell you the truth, it's a lot better than growing up with their parents, everything considered. Better an orphan than a cannibal, I guess?
With that, we complete the unmarked quests, Our Little Secret, and One Big Happy Family. Now, the Fallout Wiki article on Andale says that the incest that went on in Andale is much worse than what we've already seen. We know that their parents want little Junior and little Jenny to get married someday, and we know that they are first cousins. We also learned from Martha that Old Man Harris was her father, and we just learned from Old Man Harris himself that Linda was also his daughter. So both of his daughters married the brothers Jack and Willie. I'm not sure why Jack and Willie had different last names, Wilson and Smith, but that makes both Junior and Jenny double cousins through their mothers, who are sisters, and through their fathers, who are brothers. But the wiki tells us that Old Man Harris is all of their fathers: Linda Smith, Jack Smith, Martha Wilson, and Bill Wilson. That, of course, would make them all siblings, which means that the adults in this town married their full-blooded brother and sister. However, I've scoured every single scrap of text that any of these characters can say, and I've read the Fallout 3 official strategy guide on this topic, and nowhere does it say that they're all his children. The closest we get was in that last conversation we had with him in his house, where he referred to them as his family. But that doesn't mean that they are all his children. However, we did learn from Jack that they are the descendants of the first 4 families that founded Andale. Now, it's been 200 years since the bombs dropped, and if we're to believe that those 4 families continued to interbreed with just each other over the span of 200 years, then it's not tough to believe that what the wiki says is correct, and that all of the adults here are indeed the direct offspring of Old Man Harris. This would be due to something called pedigree collapse. It would only take a few generations for an entire community to become completely inbred if it only started with 4 couples. Let's assume that each of those 4 couples only had 1 child. The next generation would be 4 children. Let's assume for the moment that there were 2 girls and 2 boys. Well, the 4 of them married off and produced the 3rd generation. Let's assume that each couple only had 1 child. 1 boy and 1 girl, similar to the situation that we find in Andale today. In that situation, you're left with 2 people with no other marriage options. We've avoided inbreeding until this point, but once they get married and have children, the only children left to marry are direct siblings. And that's only after 4 generations. It's likely that there have been between 6 and 8 generations from the time that the bombs dropped until today. And this hypothetical situation only works if each family only had 2 children and had a boy and a girl. What if some of the families only had 1 child? What if some never conceived? What if some of the families had 2 boys? What if an entire generation was 4 or 5 boys and only 1 girl? We can quickly see how even if things go perfectly for 3, 4, or 5 generations, it only takes 1 generation of bad luck, an entire generation with a severe gender disparity, for inbreeding to begin. So it's entirely possible that Linda, Martha, Bill, and Jack are all brothers and sisters, that their father is Old Man Harris, which would make Jenny and Junior not only first cousins, but deeply inbred first cousins. Andale is a great place to hit if we're trying to complete the Little Lamplight quest, Fungus Deal. We can exchange the strange meat we find here with Eclair for fungus, and we can walk away with over 80 pieces of strange meat. So what's the morally right response to this quest? After all, in a post-apocalyptic world, is cannibalism really bad? The lone wanderer can become a cannibal if he or she wants to. Food is scarce. People die all the time. Shouldn't one do what one must in order to survive? Well, I don't know. But honestly, as disgusting as cannibalism is, the cannibalism side of this Andale town doesn't bother me quite as much as the murder side. It would be one thing if they were dragging the dead bodies of raiders out of ruins and using them for food, as gross as that is, and it's quite another to lure in unsuspecting travelers and wastelanders and murdering them in order to harvest their flesh. So in my opinion, even if we're comfortable with cannibalism in the Fallout universe, it's still good to get rid of these 4 people simply because they were murdering others. But what about the kids? What about Junior and Jenny? If we kill their parents, we turn them into orphans. Junior tells us how sad he is that he's never gonna see his parents again. Let's put Andale in the context of the big moral decision we had to make at the end of the Pit DLC. I'll be talking about it without giving away any spoilers. For those of you who haven't watched my series on the Pit, you can watch the complete series by clicking here. My question is, if we side with Lord Asher, believing in his plan for Pittsburgh despite the human cost, how can we then judge the cannibals of Andale? Asher does what he does for the greater good, to rebuild a city, to rebuild civilization. The Smiths and the Wilsons have the exact same goal, but on a smaller scale. They do what they do to build their little town, the town of Andale. After all, we need to look at the bigger picture here. If we leave the adults alive, the town thrives. It can continue to prosper. Families will continue to grow here for generations to come, even if they are incestuous families. What moral right have we to put an end to this society, to this small culture? One could argue that siding with Asher is still morally better than siding with the inbred cannibals of Annandale, because rebuilding the city is going to help more people. If Pittsburgh is prosperous, more families can rebuild. It can become a cultural center, a trading hub, giving countless people and families jobs and allowing goods to travel across America. My counter-argument to that would be that yes, that is true, but the cost is also greater. The humans that Asher and his raiders destroy to make Pittsburgh is going to be magnitudes greater than what the 2 families at Andale could ever do. Sure, over the span of 200 years, the Andale families killed and consumed hundreds, possibly thousands of people, but if we only see, 30 slaves in the pit when we arrive? How many are enslaved each year? How many are murdered each year? How many have been enslaved and murdered over 200 years? If we invest in that city, how many hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands will be enslaved and murdered to rebuild the city? Sure, more people can benefit from a rebuilt Pittsburgh, but the human cost is also much greater. Well, in my opinion, I still think it's morally right to put an end to the cannibalism that goes on here, because like the Raiders of Pittsburgh and Asher's army, this township, these people of Andale, are parasites. It would be one thing if they contributed anything to the wasteland, but they don't. They feed off of it, quite literally. If not for the vagabonds of the wastes, the caravanners just trying to make their living, the traders trying to make it from day to day, then the people of Andale would starve. They simply cannot exist without the destruction of, as Old Man Harris said, hundreds, possibly even thousands of lives and families that could have gone on to make their own settlements, their own farms, their own little societies. Therefore, because these people in Andale are parasites on the capital wastes, I think the most moral option is to put an end to them, even if it means, as sad as that is, making Junior and Jenny orphans. But what are your thoughts on Andale? Was this a simple, easy moral decision for you, or did you struggle with it, like some of the others we've found in Fallout 3? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop this week, folks. Thanks, killer. That's right, Fallout 4 fans will recognize this as the thank you card from Pikmin, if we choose to side with Pikmin in his art gallery. And on the back of the shirt, we see Pikmin himself painting one of his masterpieces. I thought this turned out so well, and I'm excited to have this shirt available to all of you. It comes in t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, in a variety of colors for both men and women. You can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. I publish a new video 6 days a week on a wide range of Fallout topics spanning all of the games. So if you don't want to miss what I've got for you tomorrow, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. And if you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. But more importantly, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning with a brand new video.